اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم الصلاۃ والسلام علیک یا رسول اللہ وعلی آلک و اصحابک یا حبیب اللہ الصلاۃ والسلام علیک یا رسول اللہ وعلی آلک و اصحابک یا حبیب اللہ والمفروض فی مسح الرأس مقدار الناسیة وهو ربع الرأس لما روى المغیرة بن شعبة ان النبی صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ وسلم اتا صباتا قوم فبالا وتوضأ ومسح على الناسیة وخفیہ. Brothers and sisters in Islam, ومفروض فی مسح الرأس مقدار الناسیة، اور مسح راس میں جو فرض ہے وہ مقدار ناسیہ ہے. لما، یہ جو ما ہے اس سے معنی وہ حدیث و وجہ اس حدیث کے جس کو روایت کیا مغیرہ ابن شعبہ نے، ان النبی صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ وسلم اتا صباتا قوم فبالا وتوضأ ومسح على الناسیة وخفیہ، کہ سرکار کائنات صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ وسلم تشریف لائے روڑی، قوم کی روڑی پر، اور آپ نے پیشاب کیا اور وضو کیا اور مسح کیا ناسیہ پر اور خفین پر. In English it would mean the obligatory amount in wiping the head is the nasiya, which is a quarter of your head. And this is according to the hadith which was narrated by Mughira ibn Shu'bah, that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam arrived and relieved himself on something, on subata, and I shall explain what subata is. And he performed wudu, meaning he purified himself, and when he performed wudu, wa masha ala nasiyati, he wiped the nasiya and his khufay, his leather socks. You see, previously is in the Quranic ayat with the subject of tahara, the wiping of the face, the hand, the washing of the face, the hands and the feet are discussed, and also the wiping of the head. But there is no distinction of how much of the head you should wipe, and there was no confusion. But there is a hadith which is narrated by Mughira ibn Shu'bah, that he says that how did we know that according to the Ahnaf that the wiping of the quarter of your forehead, of your head, this is only farz and the rest of the part is not farz? He says because Hazrat Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, he arrived, he came to something which is termed here as subata. Subat would mean, you see, in this country where we are living in England, we have hoovers, and all the household rubbish are taken away by the bin men. But our previous nations, they didn't have this facility, this privilege. And even if you go to remote places of Pakistan, even most of Pakistan, they don't have this facility. And what used to happen is that when the women of the house, they used to brush up their homes and in majority of the cases, it is only dust and twigs and leaves that were found in the houses, and they would take them, and there was a particular place in the fields where they would throw them, they would dump them. And this is not to suggest that the dung of animals was also thrown there, because the dung of the animals and the bird droppings and the chicken droppings, they were used as fertilizer. So they were thrown in the lands, not on these heaps. And this was sometimes used by people to relieve themselves. And this is what happened here. This is what this book refers to, Subata, Qawmin Fabala. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also came upon this place, and he relieved himself and he performed wuzu. And Mughira ibn Shoba, he says that he observed Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he performed wuzu, and whilst he was performing wuzu, he wiped the forehead, the nasiya, the front part of your head, and he wiped over his leather socks. And from this we can establish that only the wiping of the forehead is farz, meaning if it was farz to wipe over the complete head, then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would have done so. And because we are compelled to follow the Prophet of Allah, Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in our daily lives, whatever decisions we make, what is obligatory, we know this from the actions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this was one of the actions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he, in normal cases, he would wipe over his complete head, but on this occasion he only wiped the quarter of his head, which is termed as nasiya. And from this we know that the rest of the part of the head wiping is a sunnah, and this part is farz. So therefore, if one person was performing the wuzu and he missed out, or he only wiped a quarter of his head, which is the nasiya, his wuzu would be complete. But if he didn't wipe the nasiya, then his wuzu would be incomplete. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the ability to understand the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Salatu wassalamu ala rasulihi Muhammadin wa alihi wa alihi.